On today's episode of Vidiots, we have Gligar13Vids's review of Mega Man X for the Super Nintendo. I'm going to be kind of dismantling it point by point because, well, Kid gets just about everything wrong about it. It's not just a difference of opinion, it's that he's just terrible at reviews. So without further ado, let's just get started with this crap, shall we?
One thing I've learned about game stores is that game stores normally charge higher prices for the good games.
Okay, so that was a little bit unfair, I'll grant you. There are a lot of good games that are very cheap, available at retro gaming stores, but yes, a lot of games do cost quite a bit of money, but it really doesn't have that much to do with quality as much as it has to do with demand and scarcity. It's a collector's market. You're going to get some good games that are really pricey and some bad games that are really pricey. There's a used game store near me that has a copy of Super Noah's Ark 3D on the shelves, and they're asking for like $130 for it, which is about market value for that piece of crap.
So normally, say Final Fantasy VI will be about $40 to $50 for the Super Nintendo, and Chrono Trigger will be slightly higher, for example. Or on the Sega Saturn, how games like Dragon Force are pretty expensive too.
Yeah, sure, only name the really expensive games. I mean, that's a very convenient way of arguing there, Gligar.
And then you have games that are overrated getting priced high because of all the people who want them.
According to you, it's overrated, Gligar, but according to people who know Super Nintendo games and 16-bit games and platformers, it's one of the best games of the era. I think I'm going to take their opinion more seriously than I take yours.
Games such as Mega Man X. Now, this game was for $21, and because I had never owned a Super Nintendo, I just got one.
Gligar, I don't believe for a second that you own a Super Nintendo. Pix or it didn't happen.
I decided to buy this game because I had a bunch of money, and I knew that if I got a good game for Super Nintendo, I'd be playing it a lot. So I purchased Mega Man X for about $21.
You know what, Gligar? I really don't have any sympathy for you here. Instead of spending $21 blindly on a game that you didn't know if you liked it or not, you should have tested it out first. There are things called emulators that make that very easy for people who are just getting into retro gaming. Try it next time.
And I bought it, put it in my Super Nintendo, and I just feel like I had $20 pulled out of my wallet because this game is bad. It's overrated. I don't get why people like this.
Well, hey, Gligar, I mean, I get your point there. It's not like every game can be Call of Duty Black Ops, you know, or one of the other 5 games in the world that you like.
I mean, I also don't get why it's $20 because there are better games.
Okay, again, Gligar, the market doesn't really have all that much to do with whether the game's good or not. It's whether people want it or not, and I really don't think that your judgment of quality is a good barometer for what games are good or not.
That cost less than $20 for the Super Nintendo. So anyways, let's start the review, shall we?
Ha! He called it a review. Gligar, you're not a reviewer. You're a kid who bitches about games he can barely play.
Alright, so the gameplay of Mega Man X is you run around playing as a character named Mega Man X, who's some robot in some future where robots are all sentient and stuff.
That's not really gameplay as much as it is the basic concept of the game. Those are two pretty different things, and as a quote-unquote reviewer, you should probably know that.
Of course, even though Mega Man X looks like a human in a robot cosplay for the local anime con, the gameplay is basically run and shoot forward, and that's about it.
It's a game about jumping and shooting. Jump and shoot! Should have been called Jump and Shoot Man. Jumping and shoot!
The main things you have to avoid are cheap enemies, which are always in the way.
Welcome to the 16-bit era, Gligar.
And cheap death pits, which are always everywhere. Just look at the introduction stage.
Which you are clearly having a great deal of difficulty with. Look, Mega Man X is a fairly difficult game. I will grant you that. But if you're having difficulty with the introduction stage, basically the tutorial level of Mega Man X, then I have to ask you, do you have basic pattern memorization skills? Because that's really all you need to finish Mega Man X's introduction stage. And basic pattern memorization is something that you need to be able to function in anything. Basically, you just need that and reflexes that are reasonably decent. I have no idea how you're having this much difficulty with the introduction stage in Mega Man X. I've seen this video several times when I was editing it and recording the voiceover here, so I just have to tell you, he really gets his ass handed to him by the introduction stage, to the point where I'm wondering if he's trying to fail.
The enemies just build death pits, which can be impossible to jump out of.
Oh, come on, Gligar. How are you this bad at this game?
And because of the way the enemies hit you, you'll lose your health real quickly and eventually die.
Wait. Hold up. You're telling me that if you get hit by enemies, it will deplete your health. And if your health is depleted enough by getting hit by enemies, you'll eventually die? Wow, I've never seen that in a video game before. I mean, I can totally see how you would take the time to point out that gameplay mechanic, because it's not like that's in every video game ever.
And there's no continues either, you just are given a password, because there's no saving, because apparently save memory was too expensive that day.
Actually, Gligar, it was. You see, way back when, video games weren't always guaranteed to have a save function, because that would require something else put into the cartridge, like a battery backup, and that did in fact cost extra money to put that in there, and if it wasn't absolutely necessary to have that battery backup for save file, like in an RPG, for example, then you really didn't need that, because that would increase the price of the game. So yeah, your argument there, your offhanded little, well, I guess it was just too much that day. It's just kind of a pointless little complaint of yours, and it just really, it doesn't work.
And you have to enter the password in every time you want to start all over again.
Okay, Gligar, I will grant you that, yeah, alright, you have a point. The passwords in video games could be a bit of a pain in the ass.
I mean, just look at this death pit. I was running and all of a sudden just playing all normal and stuff, killing all these robots, which, look, I don't know, the character design is not that great in my opinion, but whatever. And then all of a sudden, I'm stuck. I'm trying to jump out of here, but I can't because there's a ledge on top of me, and I have nothing to do other than die. That is what we call great level design.
No, Gligar, that was completely your fault. Let me just show you in a little bit of a picture here how you could have done that better. Okay? Alright, so in this picture, the red line is what you did and what resulted in death. And the X there and the blue line are what you should have done and what would have resulted in not death and continuing on with the level. In fact, that is pretty much what 99.9% of gamers would do when presented with that gap. You get as close to the edge as you can without falling off, then you jump over it. It's not a difficult jump, Gligar.
Brought to you by Capcom. Yup, that's cheap.
No, that's incompetence, and not on Capcom's side of the table. It's you. You screwed up, and now you're blaming Capcom for bad level design because you couldn't navigate a really simple basic jump.
But anyways, now that I've gotten the bad gameplay out of the way, because after all, gameplay is supposed to matter more than graphics and sound, the music sounds like elevator music.
Have you ever heard elevator music before, Gligar? Because elevator music is usually like smooth jazz.
It is some of the best elevator music you can hear on the Super Nintendo, and by that I mean it's extremely forgettable.
Which is why it's considered by many people to be among the best and most memorable music of the 16-bit era. But you know, hey, what do they know? It's not like they know what they're talking about. I mean, it's just that they've played the game past the introduction stage. I mean, that doesn't mean that they know the game as well as you do, Gligar.
To the point where you'll easily forget it. Oh, and another thing I forgot to brought up. Enemies respawn real easily. Just walk off the screen, boom, the enemies are there again. So you can mine them for stuff if you want, but...
You do realize what you did there just now, right? Here's my complaint. This is why my complaint is invalid. Good job, Gligar. You're making my job easier.
Other than that, they're just kind of cheap and stuff. Especially if they're annoying enemies you hate. But anyways, the music is forgettable.
And you're redundant.
Honestly, it's just not that great. It's overrated. All in all, it's just bland and repetitive.
And you're repeating yourself. Because you're redundant.
As for the graphics are the only thing I can say are alright about this game. Because at least they look okay for a Super Nintendo game. I mean...
Why? How do they look good, Gligar? Please explain it to us. It's your job as a reviewer to explain your opinion. You can't just state your opinion like, this game sucks, end of review, which is pretty much what you do, but you stretch it out to several minutes. Just explain something. Please, Gligar, explain why the graphics are good.
They could be worse. They could be Bebe's Kids.
Of course, name the game that the Nostalgia Critic reviewed, or Let's Play it, or whatever. Yeah, I mean, because that's really, obviously, the only experience you have with Bebe's Kids on Super Nintendo. It's not like you ever played it yourself and made your own opinion. Because that would take effort, and you're not really the type of guy who likes effort. No, it's just a lot easier to make a video of yourself playing a game badly, saying that it sucks, and just pissing people off. That's easy.
Or some other game, but...
Like what? What other game?
They're not the worst. That's all the praise I can say about this game, because this game's just not that great, really. I'd probably review the other Mega Mans, but they're all just the same game reskinned. In fact, they made 8 Mega Man X's.
No, they didn't make 8 Mega Man X games. They only made 7. I mean, they made Mega Man X, X2, X3, X4, X5, X6, and X8. There was no X7. There was no X7.
Most of which were reskins.
Well, you know, they were mostly all reskins, except for that one game that never happened.
Then you had Mega Man 8, which was a reskin of Mega Man 7.
Oh, come on, Gligar. Mega Man 8 was not a reskin of Mega Man 7. You see, Mega Man 8 had the greatest voice acting this side of Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
I don't know where this energy came from, but you cannot let it fall into Dr. Wowie's hands. You must recover all the energy immediately, Mega Man.
And looked like a Super Nintendo game, and Mega Man 1 through 6 were the exact same game. And then 9 and 10 were copies of Mega Man 2, so yeah, they're just reskinning.
Oh my god, I think Gligar might be onto something here. I mean, no one has ever thought of that before, that Capcom just keeps re-releasing the same game again and again and again.
It's like how many we can possibly milk. I mean, everybody says EA is bad at milking and stuff, and so is Activision, but Capcom is run by hipsters. They've been milking before it was cool.
No, I don't think Capcom is run by hipsters. I think that Capcom is run by Japanese businessmen who have naught but contempt for the people who keep buying their products.
So, yeah, all in all, this game is just not that great. In fact, the whole series is just reskins, so that's all I'm really going to review is this game. Don't buy this game. $20 was a ripoff. I kind of regret it. I should have bought a better game.
Such as? Name one, Gligar. Name just one. Prove that you know anything about the Super Nintendo.
Like, oh, I don't know. An RPG maybe, or some other good games. There were so many good games on the Super Nintendo, I could have bought one of the better games.
Such as? Just one, Gligar, that's all I ask. You've named a genre of games that's generally good on Super Nintendo, but not a game. Not any individual games.
Anyways, thanks for watching and subscribe for more.
No.
Where is Dr. Wily?
That's a good question. We may be able to locate another energy emission from the radar room. When we find that meteor, we'll find Dr. Wily.